Daily Broadside, day 504. There was a lady named Margot. It's W-O-L-K. I assume it's like Volk. Margot Volk, right? She lived to the ripe old age of like 97, born in 1917. And when she was in her mid-20s in East Prussia, Germany, wherever she was, when this happened, she and like 14 other women in their mid-20s were selected, given the opportunity. Well, I don't think it's probably not an opportunity. They were told that they would become food testers for Adolf Hitler. So she was stationed at his Wolf's Lair, which was in East Prussia in the 40s. And she basically got up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and every day at 8 o'clock she was there and, tasted all of his food that he would be eating for the day. And I got to tell you, that could be either the dumbest job on earth or the worst, because, on the one hand, you could die if somebody, poisoned you. And then this, goes on into, modern, like Putin supposedly has a food taster. Supposedly Obama had one, and maybe even Trump and Biden used them, or use them. But Obama definitely had one, apparently. So, I mean, it goes on, right? And this goes back to like the kingdom days, everybody doing all this stuff. But could you imagine, like, Hitler was a vegetarian, so it's not like you're going to be getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and eating mutton. But who wants to get up and eat like ratatouille or a salad or whatever? And I mean, how early in the morning have you ever eaten a salad? I'm going to go 10 o'clock, 9:45 maybe. And I love a salad. Salads are great, but I don't typically consume them, before lunch, right? But if you got up and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and, you under the pressure of death probably have to go in and feast on, you're not eating like a ton of it, I'm sure, but you're taste testing all this like asparagus and broccoli and cauliflower and stuff at 8 in the morning. I mean, what does that do for the rest of your day? Like, do you then just go have a Pop-Tart for breakfast after that? Or is that breakfast just a bunch of breads and vegetables? It's just a weird existence, And then, they tell you if you're out in the wilderness and, you get stuck somewhere and, you're Mr. McCandless out and into the wild, and you're in the wild. That's why they call it that. And, Krakauer's book, Into the Wild. But, and you decide, hey, there's some berries and maybe I could consume them and use them as sustenance to, sustain my life. The trick is to just take a little bit of nibble, just tiniest little nibble, right? However you would do that. And then you just like wait like 15 or 20 minutes. You see like if your throat, swells shut, or, you break out into anaphylactic shock or whatnot. And then if that, if you're okay there, then you take a little bite, just a little bite. Pequeño. Un poco. All right. And so you wait another 20, 30 minutes, see how that does. And then, and you eventually get to the point where you can take a whole bite, right? Because you don't want to just bite into this like root, this beet that you've found, this wild beet that you've found, a rutabaga, as it were, and then just start gorging yourself with it and then find out later that it's poisonous, right? And if you get to the point of anaphylaxis, then, to back off a little bit. But think about anaphylaxis like this, right? So like, what if, Adolf Hitler had like a tree nut allergy, and you didn't know it, right? So I guess, I'm sure there might be some, people who are vegetarians that don't eat nuts, but I would assume that most of them do, legumes and whatnot, all that whole, family. And so you're sitting there, you got a little pecan chutney with your asparagus this morning. So it's 8 in the morning. You're just like, this is really good. I got to tell you, because the food was good, right? I mean, it's made for Adolf Hitler, so it's not going to be like trash. It's not like you're eating at a prison cafeteria. But then you eat it and you're like, man, this is really, can I have some more of it? No, I can't. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it's good. He can eat it, and then you move on, right? Cause they're probably not giving you seconds. So like just, whipping you into go back to your room and wait for lunch, but then Adolf comes in and he's like, what are we having for lunch? I don't do an Adolf Hitler voice. And he's like, oh, we're having a pecan chutney and some nice asparagus and blah, blah, blah. And he eats it and then kicks over dead because, his throat like closes off because he's got, a tree nut allergy. And I don't even know if pecans are tree nuts. They are. I think they are. Anyway, let's pretend like whatever chutney nut he ate. Chutney Nut. That's a cool name for a band. Coming to the stage, Chutney Nut, right? So You got all that. And then he dies, right? And then the SS is like, bring Margot Volk to me, and then they shoot her and all, torture or whatever they do. And you'd be like, I didn't know he had a tree nut allergy. How was I supposed to know this? Shouldn't the Fuhrer's doctor be telling us what he can and can't have, as far as food's concerned? But I mean, it would be my luck, though, that I would get, I'd be forced into food tasting, in the 1940s, and I'd get some idiot who was a vegetarian. I'm like, could we not get a steak up in this motherfucker? We got to eat salad every damn day. You know how hard it is to eat a salad every morning at 8 a.m.? Damn! But then maybe, he has a little porridge, which is kind of like oatmeal, I guess. I've never had porridge. I don't really know what the difference between porridge and oatmeal is, other than porridge just looks like we will make oatmeal, but we will suck all the sugar and tasty stuff out of it. And it's just, bland. It's kind of like plain yogurt, You ever eat plain yogurt and you think, oh, I'll just stick some fresh berries in this and it'll be great. And you're like, this is horrible. There's no flavor to this whatsoever. You got to have some lemon or something to kind of, just a tinge of flavor there, because the berry's not going to carry that much yogurt, unless you just cram so many berries in there that it's just turns into blueberry yogurt, which is not the same. But yeah, so porridge is kind of like plain yogurt is what I imagine it being. You eat it and you're like, yeah, this sucks. This really sucks. This needs raisins or cinnamon sugar. This needs that little bar that nice hotels have when they have a little oatmeal station, and you can put all kinds of nuts and pecans, and pecan is a nut. I think it's a tree nut. It's a chutney nut, for sure. But you put all that crap in there, and you end up putting way too much sugar and stuff in your oatmeal. But it tastes delectable, and Adolf would eat it. A giddy.